Hey guys, what's up? This is a viewer requested video for somebody that I didn't think of, that I probably should have thought of, for a forgotten figure, and the fact that I couldn't think of him kind of lends to the thought that he is a forgotten figure. And when we think of the Civil War and whoever is in charge of the Union Army, we always think about its commanding general. We think of McClellan, Burnside, Pope, McDowell, but when it comes to the end, we think of Grant. So, without further ado, let's bring the past into the present with General George Meade. There are many figures who contribute to history. Most are overlooked, some command the spotlight, and some are simply forgotten. American history is no exception, with heroes, traitors, villains, and simply those who were in the right spot at the right time. But all these figures, good or bad, would contribute to this story, our story. This is Forgotten Figures. George Meade is an oddity. Not only was he not born in the United States, he wasn't even born on the North American continent. He would be born on December 31st, 1815, in Cadiz, Spain, as the 8th of 11 children. His time in Spain was minimal, with his family moving back to the United States in 1817 after suffering bankruptcy. In 1831, Meade received an appointment to West Point and would go on to graduate 19th out of 56 in the class of 1835. Like most West Point grads, he would go on to serve in the Seminole War in Florida, but would retire at the end of his enlistment. In 1840, he would marry Margaretta Sargent, and together the couple would have 7 children. He would work as a civil engineer for a couple of years before re-enlisting in 1842, joining the Corps of Topographical Engineers as a second lieutenant. He would be present at some of the major battles in the Mexican-American War, but would see no major action. After the war, he would continue to serve with the engineers, helping to build lighthouses and breakwaters on the Atlantic, as well as helping to conduct the first geodetic survey of the Great Lakes. When fighting broke out at Fort Sumter, he was promoted to Brigadier General of Volunteers and assigned to command the 2nd Brigade of Pennsylvania Reserves. Essentially, they were to construct the defenses around Washington, D.C. In 1862, General McClellan launched his Peninsula Campaign, marching overland from Yorktown to the outskirts of Richmond. Meade was attached to the 1st Corps under Major General Irvin McDowell and stationed along the Rappahannock. On June 30th, after being held in reserve at the beginning of the 7 Days Battle, the Pennsylvania units under his command were in the middle of the action at Glendale. His brigade suffered heavily, losing 1,400 men, and Meade himself would be injured, shot in the right arm and through the back. He would recover from his injuries just in time to take part in the Second Battle of Bull Run, where his brigade was instrumental in protecting the Union rear and retreat. In the subsequent Battle of South Mountain, his brigade captured and held a strategic position, forcing the withdrawal of the Confederates. Then, on September 17th, at the Battle of Antietam, Meade assumed command of the 1st Corps when Hooker was wounded. Toward the end of 1862, Meade was in command of the 3rd Division of the 1st Corps as the Army of the Potomac, now under command of General Ambrose Burnside, made its way towards Fredericksburg, Virginia. He would earn promotion to Major General on November 29th, but still only be over volunteers. Despite performing well, the main Union Army was forced to retreat. On December 22nd, Meade replaced Daniel Butterfield, commanding 5th Corps, heading into the Battle of Chancellorsville. In January 1863, Hooker would replace Burnside as commanding general, but would lead a disastrous campaign at that crossroads town. By June, General Lee had maneuvered his army and was heading north, and on June 28th, a messenger from President Lincoln informed Meade of his promotion to commanding general. His corps commanders approved of his promotion, but his soldiers viewed him as modest, lacking the theatrics, and lack of scholarly demeanor, and didn't see the promise. As he wrote to his wife, command of the Army of the Potomac was more likely to destroy one's reputation than to add to it. He wasn't wrong. He knew that he had to act quickly and rushed the army to Gettysburg, Pennsylvania, setting up defensive positions. Meade was a model commander, moving about his troops and ensuring Lee did not flank his position. On July 2nd, he made the prophetic decision to occupy Little Round Top, a mound on the Union right which remained empty to that point. Meade moved quickly and utilized his subordinates to perfection, and at the end of the 3 days of fighting, the Union Army held the field and the manpower advantage. Robert E. Lee, with a battered army, retreated back into Virginia. Meade held his army in Gettysburg instead of pursuing the Confederate forces, a move he was heavily criticized for by President Lincoln. Despite the criticism, he would earn a promotion to brigadier general in the regular army on July 7, 1863. After small skirmishes at Bristow and Mine Run, Lee continued to hold the Army of Northern Virginia just out of harm. In March 1864, General Grant would be promoted to General-in-Chief of all Union armies. Meade offered to resign, allowing Grant to choose a new commanding general, but this offer was refused. Instead, Meade would continue to lead the Army of the Potomac, but Grant would travel with the army with one main goal. As he wrote to Meade, "Lee's army will be your objective point. Wherever Lee goes, there you will go also." On May 4, 1864, the army moved out of winter quarters, crossed the Rapidan, and engaged with Lee outside of Fredericksburg in the Battle of the Wilderness, so named because of its dense woods and thick undergrowth. After 3 days of fighting and 17,000 men lost, the Army of the Potomac maneuvered around Lee and headed south towards Spotsylvania Courthouse. Despite clashing with Grant over the direction of the army and Sheridan over the use of cavalry, Meade would be promoted to Major General at Grant's request. He moved the army further south with the prodding of Grant all the way across the James River to Petersburg, in the outskirts of Richmond. During the siege of Petersburg, he did approve General Burnside's plan to blow a hole in the Confederate lines from underneath. The resulting Battle of the Crater was a disaster, to say the least. Despite this setback, the Union forces would eventually force Lee from his defenses and force him west toward Appomattox Courthouse. Although he was the commanding general of the Army of the Potomac, he was not present at Lee's surrender. Grant and Sheridan received the glory for Lee's defeat and Sherman of Johnson's defeat. On June 28, 1865, the Army of the Potomac was broken up and Meade's command along with it. The next month, he assumed command of the Military Division of the Atlantic, with headquarters in Philadelphia. In January 1868, he took command of the 3rd Military District, with headquarters in Atlanta. He would continue to serve the U.S. Army until his death on November 6, 1872, from pneumonia. So why is he such a forgotten figure? He was a capable corps commander, and Grant knew his worth by keeping him in command of the Army of the Potomac. He had no daring raids like Sheridan, no famous march like Sherman, no mental drama like Grant. He just was. He led the Army of the Potomac for the final 2 years of war and received 2 promotions in that time. His lack of aggression may have caused him to be passed over for promotion by Sherman and then Sheridan, the latter being subordinate to him. He is worth being remembered for his engineering abilities and for the simple fact that it was his army, the Army of the Potomac, that forced Lee to surrender, and that Grant was General-in-Chief of all Union forces. If you have any thoughts of your own as to why he's forgotten, go ahead and leave a comment. Also, don't forget to like this video and subscribe, as well as follow me on Twitter at PastAndPresent4. Thanks for watching.